Hello, everybody in the Pivot Mindset Facebook group. Oh my goodness, this has been one wild and crazy week. So, in just a little bit, I am going to be releasing this week's module on perspective. It's my favorite thing because if you look back at your life a year ago, is it the same as it is today? I guarantee not, because the world has been in a pandemic. But if you go back a decade, are you the same person you were back then? Or is there anything in your life that you have been trying to fix for a decade and it's still hanging around? It happens to the best of us. And I wanted to talk about perspective this week because if I was to go back a decade, I am definitely not the woman I was back then. For example, my health is good today, and back then it wasn't. I was eating fast food 7 days a week, right? And nutrition, it wasn't a thing. I mean, I was this little stick that would run around that couldn't gain weight if she tried. And she was also very sick all the time. Like, I was struggling with headaches and all kinds of crap. But I also knew everything back then, which was awesome. I wish I knew everything today. I know absolutely nothing, but I shouldn't say that I know things. It's just that I know that I definitely don't know everything. So being open to learning and seeing new things, as soon as you start to open your mind, you realize what's possible, and possibilities are infinite. So I'm going to take you through the journey from who I was 10 years ago to where I am today. And I'm going to see if you guys can find some perspective in all of this stuff. So when it started off, I was 100% Western medicine. It had to be medical facts, right? Otherwise, it wasn't legit. And then, as soon as the medical system couldn't have answers anymore, and at 36, they said it's as good as it gets, and that wasn't very good. I'm here to tell you I felt numb, and it just sucked. And when you get to that place where somebody tells you that something is impossible and you're not willing to accept it, guess what? There are 3 teachers that are absolutely incredible. Number 1 is pain, because I'm telling you, when you are in pain, you're paying attention, right? You're not thinking about many other things. The other is passion, because when you love something, you're going to chase after it. You're going to connect to it, and you're not going to give up, right? And the third thing is people, because most people will fight for those that they love. So whatever perspective that you are looking at, make sure that you pay attention to which one of those 3 P's is driving you. So back then, like I said, it was pain. So when health couldn't do anything anymore, I started looking at alternative cures. And then when that didn't work, like I said, natural stuff, right? Relieving pain, I'm telling you. And then you get looking for the impossible, right? Curing the incurable, vitamins and herbs. I mean, I tried it all. And guess what? I was doing everything right, and I still felt like crap. So I had to figure out, okay, there's got to be more to this circus, right? And so you kind of dig into the smartest people that you've ever found, and then you start going into the weird stuff, right? So power versus force. I grew up in a Christian upbringing, so I had some religious stuff to deal with. Religious shaming is what I call it. It's Team No Fun. Pay attention to what you look at. Really, you get desperate. Secret, oh my goodness. Who has read The Secret? Guess what? There's more to The Secret. secret is 10%, right? And 90% is what's running the ship. So if you're just trying to run with that 10%, there really is more to the secret. Oh, and then you get into these kinds of things where you're starting to get wisdom from the people that are on the way out. This is a great book, The Last Lecture. There's some ahas and wisdom in there that he left behind. And then let me see here. Oh, and then there's that little voice in your head, right? So when you have that little voice in your head chatting and you need to shut it up, yeah, it's called gremlin taming. It's actually really awesome. And so I imagine that that's something that a lot of people could use some help with, right? And then what had happened was I stumbled across this book. It's called Andy Andrews. It is all about perspective. And if you notice, it's chew to heck, sign to heck. And it's got notes from everybody whose life it's changed. This book changed my life. And it's because as humans, we always make things complicated. It doesn't have to be. It's actually quite simple. Quit making it complicated. And it's funny because when that book changed my life, I had wrote a testimonial or whatever, and I ended up winning this book, How to Kill 11 Million People. Do you know how I won it? I said, I have no idea why anybody would want to kill 11 million people, but somehow, some way, Andy Andrews is going to make that make sense because he's a master at perspective. Now he's got a podcast called The Professional Noticer. I highly recommend. If you have never heard of this guy, go listen to it. It's pure genius. I'm telling you, pure genius. And then once you kind of have perspective, you understand that it's not really all that important to learn everything yourself, right? People have already trucked through time and made all the hard lessons. It's time to learn from experts. So then you dig into things. I was in the sales world, so I ended up following stuff like Dale Carnegie. And then I learned that the most powerful words in the English language are I am. I'm telling you, don't say anything after I am that you don't want, because it can lead you to needing this book next, right? Seriously, you can get yourself into quite the pickle. And the most powerful thing that I have ever done, so anybody else have this problem? When my kids were little, I used to lose my nugget on the daily because the house wasn't clean. And it really sucks when your kids come and they give you advice on the advice that you had given. So I'm a big advocate of you never fight the symptom, you always find the cause, because then you can find the cure. And so for Christmas in 2015, my kids bought me this book. Let me tell you, I Marie Kondo'd my house, and it has been spotless ever since. I love it. And finding out that clutter is actually bringing you a lot of extra responsibility that weighs you down and makes you feel heavy is the best lesson and the best perspective I got from this. This literally changed my life, and it was life-changing. Recommend it. And so it doesn't matter where you get the information from, but everything that you learn, every idea that you have, every experience, every situation, it can bring perspective. And being open is critical for that, because if we're fighting for what we believe is right, or, I mean, I have no problem with people that advocate for things that are important to them, but I'm saying that there's three sides to every story. And so a lot of the times, if we get defensive over something, it's probably just because there's a trigger that we need to focus on, because there is no right, there is no wrong. There's just how do we do better, right? So I strongly recommend that with perspective, um, if it's complicated and if it's not providing you with peace, it's probably not right, because every time that I have had the perspective that is right for me, it's simple. Like, I mean, oh, it's like, really, why did I make this complicated? Kind of simple. So, what is the simplest thing that you can do to fix your situation? Because when your heart and your head are in the right place, everything moves with ease. There is no fight, there is no struggle. It's simple. And um, it's really quite neat, because up until now in the pivot class, a lot of the calls have been recorded. I haven't really been in here giving you much inspiration other than, a few comments here and there. And I did it with reason, because a lot of times when we're going through struggles, we try to do it on our own, right? We just think that we need the information and we can do it ourselves. And you've had the information for the past, this is class 7. So the last 6 classes, you've had the information, you've had the opportunity to do it on your own. But next week, we're changing things up. And so next week, I am showing up live, and I am offering 2 hot seats for people that want to clear their clutter to show up, and we will do live clearings. The only thing is, if you're volunteering for a hot seat, this is going to be on YouTube and it will be public. So you have to be willing to give permission for it to be public. And then the other thing is, you guys are going to find out in just a few minutes. Last week when I was working on this module, it actually turned into a book. And so you guys have now got access to Pivot, Is It Time to Change? And I read the entire thing. It's not perfect because I didn't edit it. I just published it because it was a crazy week. But I hope that there's information in there that will give you the perspective that you need. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see all of you who are ready to pivot next week, live Wednesday, 10 o'clock. Bye for now.